Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a Christmas themed house. This is the very first of its kind that I've ever made, and I hope that you guys like it. Be gentle. By the way, just in case you have any more building related needs, feel free to not only check out the description below, in which I'll be leaving links to all of my tutorial playlists, every single one of them, but I highly recommend checking out the card system, where I'll be leaving more specific videos and playlists that I think that you guys will really want to check out. If you like this build, for instance, there will be loads more like this that you'll probably like, except they're not going to be Christmas themed, it'll be loads of other stuff. But moving on, if you want to make the house, here's what you're going to need. Grab yourself some block of quartz and some quartz stairs, then grab brown stained clay, then grab yourself some red wool, some white wool, orange, yellow, lime green, and finally guys, grab yourself some cyan wool, and those are the only materials that we can currently carry. We are going to need some more things later on, but we're just going to have to grab them and switch them out as we need them, because we have run out of room. So once you have each one of those materials right there, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'll be making it right here, you're going to want to kick off your house with a row of 9 block of quartz coming directly up from the ground. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then, take this 9th block and go right of it by 18. That's 1, 8, 18. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Then connect that 18th block all the way down to the ground, like this. So you just want to have something which should look a little bit like that. You know, whilst we're here, shall we take care of the entrance? Yeah, I think that we'll probably take care of the entrance whilst we're actually here. So come all the way down to the bottom left-hand corner of what you've made, and just going right of this very first quartz block that we placed right here, you want to go right of this block by 7 with your brown stained clay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then do a red wool, place a white on top, then a red on top, go right by 1 with the white, 1 with the red, go down by 1 with the white, 1 with the red, and that is the entrance to the house, guys. That is exactly what you want to have. Oh, and just to make sure that it is very in the center, you might want to go right up that red wall by 7 with your brown stained clay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there we go, bam. Just to make sure that it is actually centered there, because it didn't look like it for a second. So, once you've reached this point right here, this is what you want to do next. Take out your block of quartz. Come behind your house. For instance, the back of my house is going to be here, so I'm just moving behind. Take each one of the top 2 corners of your house and extend them going back towards where the back of the house is going to be, each by 21. That's 2, 121. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and the other one as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then we're just going to connect each one of those 20 first blocks together, and we'll also connect them down to the ground as well. So we just want to have a nice big giant rectangular-ish shape on the ground. That's the wrong block. There we go, that's much better. So we just want to have something which should look a little bit like this, and there we go, that's just the base of the house. What we now want to do is do the 2 parts of the framework for the roof. So you want to be on the front of your house again, and you want to be on the front left hand corner. And what you want to do, this is a little bit different, guys. So in front of this, it's easy to explain like this. So on top of this block right here, on top of the front left hand corner block, place a quartz, and then place a quartz block in front of it. Delete that quartz that you used to place on top of the framework, and keep this one that's kind of like hovering in front of the house like this. We now, from this block, want to do a bottom left diagonal, but we also want to do 9 upright diagonals from this block. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We then want to do bottom right diagonals until we connect to the equivalent point on the right hand side of the roof. So it should just be in line with the framework on the right hand side. So remember how we did that bottom left diagonal? That's where we're going to want to stop on this side. So we just kind of want to have a triangular shape that is kind of like in front of the house like this. Not only do we want this on the front of the house, but we also want this on the back of the house. So coming to the back of the house here, we want to do the same thing. So starting on this back left hand corner, we want to place our quartz block, then one in front of it, knock out the one behind, do a bottom left diagonal from that quartz block that's kind of floating in the air, then 9 upright diagonals, so that'll be 1, 2, Whoops. we destroyed that block. Okay, so let's start that count of 9 again. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we can just do bottom right diagonals until we connect to the opposite point on the back of the house. And once we've done that, we can then move on to the next bit. So we're just finishing off the back part of the roof here, and we just want to end up with something that should look a little bit like this, just to show you the side. And what you can do, guys, you can take each end of the roof, so the very left and very right hand sides of the bottom of the roof, and you can just connect them together front to back. So with a long row of quartz, you can just connect them together front to back. And not only can you do this with each end of the roof, like the far left, the far right, but we can also take the very top of the roof, the apex, this top block, and we can connect that front to back as well. So you can kind of see how the roof's going to shape together, like so. Perfect. Now, once you've got that taken care of, this is what we're going to do next. I figured that we'll now take care of the front of the house, we'll then take care of the back, both of the sides, and then we'll take care of the roof. How does that sound? Does that sound nice? It's not going to be nice. So once you've got that taken care of, you want to be on the front of your house, and starting from on top of, can you remember this first brown block that we placed here, that we used to place the entrance? Well, on top of this block, you want to place a quartz. You then want to miss a block going up, place a quartz. Miss a block going up, place a quartz. Miss a block, place a quartz. Going right, you want to do the same thing. It's the same pattern. It's like quartz, miss one, so on and so forth until you hit the right hand side right here. And then you want to do the same thing coming down the right hand side. So place one, miss one, place one, miss one. And you just want to have something which should look a little something like this. So you just want to have this pattern. Alright guys, so once you have that pattern taken care of, we're now going to add the windows to the ground floor of the house. So we now want to take each one of the top 2 corners of the entrance, these red wall blocks, and we want to extend them outwards each by 1 with the brown stained clay. We then want to take out our quartz block, and we want to continue going outwards by 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll then go up by 3, 1, 2, 3, right by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then connect back to where we first started to give us a square shape. Nice and easy. Do that on the left, do that on the right. So on the right it's 1, 2, 3, 4, then up 3, then left 3, and then connect back to where we first started to give us our 2 windows, which are very, very simple. And what we can also do whilst we're down here, just completely fill in the front of the house with the brown stained clay, because we'll have to do it later otherwise. And we will also be filling in the windows with white stained glass. We're going to be needing that on more than a few occasions later on. So we're not only using it for like the ground floor windows, we're actually using it for something pretty special on the front, which is one of the main features of this house, I feel, and it looks not quite nice. So that is what you want to have for the entrance so far. I know it looks a little bit boring, but trust me, later on it's going to look a lot better. So once you've reached this point right here, we're now just going to fill in the middle bit underneath the roof. So on top of this center block that we have right at the front of the house, like coming up, it's in line with the entrance to the house. On top of this quartz, you want to place a quartz block. Then do 3 upper left diagonals from that quartz. So 1, 2, 3. Then do 3 upper right diagonals. 1, 2, 3. 3 bottom right diagonals. 1, 2, 3. Then 2 bottom left diagonals to connect all the way back to where we first started to give you this shape. What we now want to do is this. We can then fill all the way around that shape that we've just made in with brown stained clay. So we just want to fill the under part of the roof in with brown stained clay. And I'm tempted to just kind of leave that there and add all of the lights to the house. You see, the house has loads of lights on it, and we need every single one of the colours we have, and I don't want to kind of like keep swapping colours in and out to adding glass, so I think that we might just leave it there, and that is just kind of like the base shape of the front of the house, and we'll come back later to add in some other things. So this is what we want to do next, guys. Why don't we liven this up a little bit? So coming all the way down to the bottom left-hand corner of the entrance, so left of this red wall that we have right here, we want to place an orange wall. And then coming up, but leaving a space, we want to do a yellow. Leaving a space, coming up, do a lime wall. leaving a space, coming up, do a cyan, leaving a space, coming up, do a red wall, then leaving a space going right, you want to do a white, but then continuing to go left, we want to do an orange, leave a space, yellow, leave a space, green. And we should just end up with this right here, and it's just a nice little bit of colour that we can add to the house, because otherwise it's quite dark. What we now want to do is, starting from the bottom right hand side of the entrance, now we want to do an orange, miss one, yellow, miss one, lime, miss one, cyan, miss one, red, going right, miss one, orange, miss one, yellow, miss one, lime. And those are the lights that we have on the front of the house. Now, this is looking a little bit boring even with the lights, but trust me when I tell you this is going to look a lot better later. Once you've got that taken care of, I feel as though it's probably time for us to move on to the back of the house. I think we should take care of that, and then we should come back. So let's move all the way to the back of the house, because it's very similar to the front of the house. So on the back of the house, the first thing that we're going to want to do, we're going to want to add in the pattern with the quartz at the base of the back of the house. So you guys know how that goes. I'm using the wrong material, aren't I? Why don't we swap those two around, not swatch. We'll swap those two around, and we can just apply the very same pattern that we applied to the front of the house. And you guys know how this goes. It's basically just place a block, miss a block, place a block, miss a block, starting from the bottom left-hand corner of the house, moving all the way around the little archway shape that we have at the base, and it'll just look a little something like this. You've already done it once before with the front of the house, so I imagine that you won't have any trouble. Once you've got that taken care of, it's now time for us to add in the windows, which is going to be a little bit tricky because we don't have the markers. So starting on the left hand side of the house, where we have this second brown clay starting from the bottom coming up, we want to go right of this clay by 1 with the brown clay, then 4 with the quartz, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, then up by 3 with the quartz, 1, 2, 3, then left 3, connect back to give you this. Once you've done that on the left, do the same on the right. So we're on the right, starting from the second brown clay, we want to go left 1, place a quartz, up 3, 1, 2, 3, left 3, 1, 2, 3, down 3, 1, 2, 3, then connect back to where you first started. So you just want to have something which should look a little something like this, and there you have, guys, you just have your 2 windows like so. Now what we want to have is we want to emulate that shape that we have on the front of the house, but we're not going to be doing the same thing to it. So we want to be at the top of the back of the house, and we want to be on top of this middle block. Place a quartz, then do 3 up left diagonals, that's 1, 2, 3, then 3 up right diagonals, that's 1, 2, 3, then 3 bottom right, 1, 2, 3, then 2 bottom left to connect all the way back to here. So we just want to have this shape, and what we can then do is just fill the entire of the back in with our brown stained clay. We also have some lights to add back here, and the lights are pretty much identical to what we have on the front of the house. I didn't actually design them to be identical, but I'm looking at it and I think that I would, because I think it makes a little bit more sense, the arrangement that I have on the front versus the different arrangement that I have here on the back. So I'm now just going to move inwards here, just because it's going to be a little bit easier to fill in around the, well, it's not a snowflake on the back, that's not what it's designed to be. On the back here it's actually kind of boring. I decided to just have like a big giant white window, and I decided to have just so it's a little bit different from the front, just so that we're not directly copying it. I decided that it's just a nice big window on the back. There's nothing too interesting about this big top and middle window, but what we want to have so far should look a little something like this. So once you've got that taken care of, this is what we're going to do next. We're now going to do exactly what we did on the front, on the back with the lights. So starting from this block right here, and you guys will be able to see where it is, like it's just right of this window, for instance. Starting from the bottom, we want to do this sequence of blocks coming up the wall. We want to do 1 orange, then 1 yellow, 1 lime, cyan, 1 red, then 1 white in the center, then going left of the red we want to do 1 orange, 1 yellow, 1 lime. Then starting from the equivalent side on, from the equivalent block on this side, this time we want to do 1 orange coming up, 1 yellow, 1 green, 1 cyan, 1 red, 1 orange, one yellow, one lime, and we just want to have something which should look a little something like this. I mean, if you wanted to make it a little bit more interesting, something that you could do, and this would conflict, nah, you know what, it'd probably conflict a little too much with the window that we have at the top, so I'm not going to even bother suggesting it. So that is what you want to have at the very back of your house. Alright guys, so once you have the back of the house taken care of, we can now move on to the sides of the house. So on the sides of the house, remember the pattern that we always apply to the base part of the house that goes all the way around the inside of it? Well, we want to have that, except it's a little bit different this time. Let me explain. So starting from the left here, working our way up, we want to just start off with the regular pattern, which is like brown clay, then quartz, then brown, then quartz, continuing onwards. Except on the side, it's a little bit different. So once you reach the top here, we only want to do a single amount of this pattern so many times. It's kind of like this. We'll do one brown, one quartz, one brown, one quartz, one brown, one quartz, one brown, one quartz, and then two browns. So we'll have like 4 repetitions of the pattern, so 4 quartz, and then 2 brown, and then we'll just repeat the pattern over and over again. So we'll then just hit the other side here, and then we'll just end up with something, oh my god, we'll end up with something that should look a little bit like this. So can you see that in the very center of the roof, we have 2 brown stained clay instead of repeating the pattern. So it'll just look a little something like this. Oh, and whilst we are here messing about with this, in front of the 2 brown stained clay that we have on the side here, just do 2 red wool. And then going left, in front of each one of the brown stained clays, you just want to do 1 cyan, 1 lime, 1 yellow, 1 orange. And then going right, we want to have the same pattern, so 1 cyan, 1 lime, 1 yellow, 1 orange. So we just want to have something which should look like this. Once you've got that taken care of, we now want to get this done. So starting from the left hand side of this side of the house, from this second brown stained clay that we placed, we want to go right of this by 1 with the clay, then right by 4 with the quartz, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then up by 3, that's 1, 2, 3, left 3, down, to give you a square shape. We then, going right of this window, we want to leave a gap of 2 with the brown stained clay, and then we want to do the same window, so that'll be 4 quartz, then 3 quartz, 3, connect down. Then leaving a gap of 2 again, that's 2 brown stained clay, or 2 rows of brown stained clay, 1 row of quartz, 3 quartz, and then connect back together. And we just want to end up with something that should look a little something like this. So we have our windows evenly spaced, we have our Christmas lights which, you know, kind of evenly spaced at the top, and now we can move on to the rest of it. So all we have to do now is just completely fill this side in with brown stained clay, and once we've got this side filled in with brown stained clay, we'll actually be filling the opposite side in the exact same way as well. So it'll literally be the exact same way, we'll just be repeating ourselves once again. So why don't I just get that taken care of, and you just want to end up with something that should in total look a little like this. And of course, we've got to fill the windows in with glass later, but that's later. So coming over to the opposite side, let's get this cracking. So on the opposite side here, we're just going to add in the pattern first of all, since that's the most difficult thing to add. We're just going to add in the pattern, going all the way around, and we're just going to use that opposite side as a gauge as to where to stop the pattern. Like, just look directly across at the opposite side, and you can see when you hit the center, just apply the variation of the pattern onto this side of your building. So instead of having to count it out, just use the opposite side of the building to just kind of gauge it. Like, you can look directly over and you'll see that that lines up perfectly. We now have to add in the various colors of blocks. So it'll be red wool in front of the 2 middle blocks, and then going left of this, we want to do 1 cyan, 1 lime, 1 yellow, 1 orange. Then going right of the red wool, we want to do 1 cyan, 1 lime, 1 orange, 1 yellow, 1 orange. So we just have the lights there, and now we just have to do the windows. So the windows, starting from the left hand side here, starting from the second brown clay, we want to do 1 brown clay going right, 4 quartz going right, up 3, left 3, down, to form a square shape. We then want to leave 2 rows in between the windows, so we're just going to then leave 2 rows of brown stained clay. We're then going to add in the other window, then 2 rows of brown stained clay, add in the other window to give us something which should look like this. And there you go, guys. That's pretty much exactly what we have on the opposite side. All we have to do now is just completely fill this thing in with brown stained clay. So we're going to get that cracking, and then we can move on to the we'll probably do the front of the house first. We'll take care of the front of the house, then we'll add in all of the glass to each one of the windows, then we'll do the roof, and then we'll actually be done, or at least structurally speaking we'll be done. So that is the opposite side of the house completed. Once you have that taken care of, we now want to come back to the front of the house once again, and we can now get rid of some colours. Actually, we don't need them until maybe later on, so I'm gonna dump all of the colours except for white. So I'm keeping white out. I'm going to grab some white stained glass, and this is what I'm going to do. So why don't I just bring this up on the plan so I can see what I'm doing. So at the top of the roof, underneath the middle bit, we want to form what looks like a snowflake shape. So in front of each one of the quartz blocks, we kind of want to form this with the quartz stairs, and this is somewhat difficult to explain, so you'll have to just bear with me, guys. We just want to have something which should look a little bit, let me just show you, because like I said, it's somewhat hard to explain otherwise, but it's quite a logical pattern, and it kind of looks quite snowflakey once this is all done. So we kind of just want to go around on top of the quartz blocks with the quartz stairs until we have this sort of pattern. And what we can then do is go all the way inside each one of those stairs by one with the white stained glass. So go all the way around the inside like that. Then do white wool all the way around the inside there, and then white glass right in the center there. So you just want to have something which should look like this, and you can get kind of like a cool snowflakey effect. Something that I was actually tinkering with a little earlier, if you kind of want to place the glass inside, like if you want to place the layer of glass inside of the house, and then knock out the layer of glass that we just placed like surrounding the white wool, I think that it gives it a nice little bit more depth, and it makes it look a little bit more interesting, but that's just me. I mean, you can have it either way around. But what we also want to have is quartz stairs underneath each one of those overhanging blocks of the roof. So just do quartz stairs underneath each one of those overhanging blocks, and when we get to the top, we also want to place just one down there, and you guys can see where this is going. So let's just keep placing these. There's a lot of roof, and I forget that. So we want to end up with something that should look a little bit like this, guys, and that's perfect. That's what we want to have on the front of the house. And doesn't that look a lot more interesting? It makes it look a lot nicer. And what we can also do before we move on to the back of the house, just completely fill in the windows that we've left empty, completely fill those in with white stained glass. And once those are done, we can then, like I keep saying, move on to the back of the house, where there's not going to be anything too interesting going on there. We've basically just got to finish off the roof, and we've also got to fill in the snowflake. And whilst I am back here, why don't we fill in the snowflake? I mean, it's not even really a snowflake on the back here, it's just like a regular window, because like I said, I wanted there to be a difference between the front and the back. So we're also going to fill in these windows, and then we're going to do the upside down quartz stairs underneath the roof, and then we can move from there. So that is all of the windows filled in. Now with our quartz stairs, do upside down quartz stairs. So underneath the roof, it'll make it look a little bit nicer, a little bit prettier. We're just going to do that. So let's just get that done. And there we go. That is what we want to have at the back of the roof, and that's just perfect, guys. That's exactly what we're after. So once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the next bit. So that's the front, back and sides done. We now have to take care of the roof. The roof is quite simple but very tedious. This is how it works. So starting on the left hand side of the roof, starting from in front, or going right of, I should say, of this quartz block, like the second quartz block of the roof, you want to do this pattern. So the pattern is quite obvious to work out, and it is actually in line with the lights that we have down below. So it will look like this. One brown stained clay, one quartz, brown, clay, brown, clay, brown, quartz, brown, quartz. then 2 brown, right in the center here, like where the red lights are, we want 2 brown, and then it'll be quartz, brown, quartz, brown, quartz, brown, quartz, brown, quartz, brown, coming all the way across until we hit the opposite side. And you'll be able to see that it's like in line with the lights, and you just want to make sure that those 2 middle blocks are indeed the same material, so you don't just like, otherwise the pattern will look a little weird. Then for the second layer of the roof, we just reverse it. For the second layer of the roof, we just reverse the pattern. So whatever you did previously, just like a chessboard, just like a checkerboard or a draftsboard, wherever you are from in the world, you just want to reverse the pattern, and you just want to keep doing it until you eventually reach the top of the roof. This might take you some time. It depends how experienced you are with this. I know that I can sometimes get a little finger tied, and I can mess this up a little bit, but you can actually do it quite quickly once you've got the muscle memory. Where are we? We're probably about halfway up the roof, and you can see how it's kind of just edging up. The idea behind this is that it looks a little bit like snow, and that it's just a little bit more interesting than a regular roof, like a thought that I did have. I'm sorry if this is a weird place to cut the video. It's just that I was doing the pattern and I was talking so much that I lost the pattern. I kind of broke it, and I didn't realize until I got to the top of the roof, so I just had to reverse it a little bit. But I'm sorry if I'm now repeating myself, because I don't know where I got to and what I was talking about, but I was just talking about I might add lights to the roof a little later on, and that was pretty much the general gist of it. Like, I might add some wool up onto the roof a little later if I decide that the roof doesn't look nice enough all by its lonesome. So we're continuing the pattern. We're coming all the way up to the top. I've got to be a little bit more careful this time. I was talking a little too much, and I got I got a little confused. Obviously, I went a little mental, and I don't know what happened. So we're just adding in the pattern of the roof here, and we've just about reached the top, and this is going to be one side done. This does take quite a long time. I completely forgot. We almost did it again. You could just have the chessboard pattern if you wanted to, but I like this a little better. It looks a little bit more uniform. It looks a little more. It looks as though somebody's actually put some thought into it rather than just like miss one. So once you've got that side of the roof taken care of, we now want to do the same thing on the opposite side of the roof. So we're now on the opposite side of the roof, starting from the left hand side here, and we're just going to do the exact same thing. So it's just that repeating pattern, and I'm just going to be careful of where those red walls are. Right there, perfect. And now that that's done, we can just keep moving up, and we're going to, whoops, up we quartz. And just in case you guys are curious, once the roof's done, there's technically nothing left to do with this house. Like, all that's left is to add a little bit of snow, and on the original version of this, I added a little bit of a pathway, and I added some I almost did it again then, and I added some candy canes in the front of the garden. Now, I am going to be building an interior with you guys, but just on the original, just on the version of this that I made for like my current creative world, none of that happened, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing with the inside, but I'm sure I'll be able to come up with something. I think I might put a tree in there, I'll put loads of lights, I'll make a nice big fireplace, a nice big rug in front of it as well, and I'll see if I can come up with anything else Christmassy. We can throw some things down that look like presents. We might have a bed. What else can we have? Maybe I'll even... Oh no, I wish there were reindeer in this game. That'd be cool. I could have added like a reindeer pen. That might have been cool. But we'll try and make the inside of the house look a little bit Christmassy. I know what I'm doing for the outside, as I've already said. So, you know, that's kind of half the battle. But just the inside, not entirely sure how that's going to look. So, just be warned. The bit after this, where I actually like show you guys how I'm going to do the interior and exterior, that might be a little bit... it might be a little bit rough. It might be a little bit rough around the edges, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So, we've just about reached the top of the roof here. We now have reached the top of the roof. We've just got this last layer to do. And this is definitely one of the more tedious parts of this. So, let's just finish this off and we can talk about what's coming next. So that is the second half of the roof, guys. As you can see, identical to the first half, and once you've done that, you'll end up with a building that looks exactly like this, which looks very, very nice if you ask me. Very, very cool looking Christmas building. Very happy with it, but it can look better. It can actually look better, believe it or not. So once you've reached this point right here, guys, you've actually completed the structure of this house. The structure is completely done. Now, you can do what I'm going to do following this, or you can just make your own interior and exterior. Be warned, yours is probably going to be better. So, moving on now, I'm going to add a path in front of the house. This path is going to be, it's kind of like a candy cane path, and it's just going to come an arbitrary amount of blocks in front of the house, probably, I would guess, just by the row that I've dug, probably about 10 in front of the house, and it's just going to follow the same pattern as the candy canes. So, it's just going to look a little something like this. And in the center of this is going to be the material that I decide to use for the floor inside. I'm probably going to use dark oak planks. Dark oak planks, I mean, I don't really want to use brown stained clay, so I figured dark oak planks is probably quite a nice compromise. It's still dark and it looks quite nice. What I'm now going to do, we're going to need a lot more colours. We're going to want to grab our colours back. We don't need our white, and we don't need our glass for a while, so why don't I grab these colours back? We'll get these. We're now going to continue the pattern as well, so like the next in the pattern, like if you look with the lights, we're going to continue this going across the path. So we have red here, and then cyan, and then is it, yep, okay, so we just want a pattern which should look, oh, let's make it one more. Let's go for this, and we can extend the path, and we can throw that there. Oh, that's the wrong material. Get rid of you for a little bit, we don't need you. Throw that there, and then we're just, like I said, we're extending the path out a little bit. We're using lights again, and we're using the same pattern of lights as we have for in front of the house, so you can see that this is just extended out a little bit. What I'm now going to do is, I don't need to dig anywhere. I can just, let's get rid of these lights for a little bit. I can grab some snow, and I can just lay some snow going all the way around the house, and I'm just going to start off by, it's going to stop like where the path stops, like it's not going to go any further there, and I'm going to connect it to the house, and then I've got to figure out how much around the house I kind of want to fill in with this path. So is it going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or is it going to be 6, 7, or maybe 9? I think that 7's a good number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this is going to go all the way around the house. And I'm also going to have it coming out of the back by 7 as well. So once I reach the back part here, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I want to drag it all the way over. I'm going to want to line it up with what I have at the front of the house on the opposite side. I'm going to want to connect it, or alternatively, we're here in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I can just connect it to the front. So I'll have a nice big squarey rectangle, probably a rectangle shape of snow, and what I'll then have to do is just completely fill in this area with snow. So the nice big giant shape that we've made, I'm now going to fill it in with snow, and I'm going to be back. You guys don't have to witness this, but that's the process that I've reached to get to here. Back in a moment. Alright guys, two things. Number one, I've completely filled that area in with snow. Number two, I had to adjust the path. It turns out that I left 2 spaces right at the front here. I left 2 spaces filled with snow, and the pattern wasn't right, so I had to fix that, and I had to readjust the snow pattern as well. But I'm sure that you guys may have even spotted that. That's been fixed just to make everything look proper, and it's looking nice. I like this. So what are we going to be doing next? Well, I'm just going to move the white and the red closer together, and I'm going to throw a couple of candy canes in the garden. So where's the center-ish? So this is like the center of the garden, and where is the edge of the house? The edge of the house is right here. So starting from this, I'm just going to build an arbitrary amount of blocks in the air. That'll probably be okay. No, this, yeah, that many. And now I'm just going to build like a candy. Does that look better than what I had planned? No, I don't think that looks any better. So there we go, and that's just a candy cane. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then 2 diagonals, or 3 diagonals down, or 3 blocks down. So you guys can see how that's made. I've just completely butchered how to actually make that of all of the... You guys can see how it's made. I don't know why I'm trying to explain it. Let's do the same thing on the opposite side. So we're on the opposite side. This is right the center here, and then... yeah, that's the center, and then that's the edge of the house here, and then it's 7 blocks, so that's red, white, red, white, red, white, red, and I think that that's 7, yep, and then we're going to do a diagonal with the white, come forward with the red one, diagonal with the white. No, that pattern isn't right, is it? Oh, that's because the other one's wrong. Okay, never mind, that makes more sense. So you can see here, this one's supposed to be white, this one's red, this one's white. There we go. That looks more normal, doesn't it? I actually liked how it looked beforehand, but that pattern's actually right. And I figured, why not put a couple of candy canes in the garden? It makes it look a little bit more Christmassy. It actually makes it look like an evil witch's house, but you guys get the point. I quite like it. It's looking quite nice. I didn't actually design anything else going around the house, like I didn't design anything in the back garden here, but if you wanted to, you could put something silly in there, like some giant gumdrops or something, but this is good enough for me now. So let's move to the inside of the house. So snow, path, two candy yeah, you know what? We could add some trees. You know what? I was just about to do some spruce wood trees in the back, but I can't figure out how to actually use bone meal. So I might do that a little bit later, or I might not do it at all. So now moving to the inside of the house, what I now have to do is completely dig out the ground, and I'm going to replace it with dark oak wood planks. There's no real reason for me to hang around and do this. What I'm also going to do whilst I am here, I'm going to completely light this place up, and I'm just going to use regular torches. I'm not going to use anything else. So I'm going to light this place up with torches. I'm not going to add a second floor. It's just going to be a first floor house, and I'm going to, like I said, dig out the floor, light it up, and I'll be back in just a moment once I've done both of those. Alright guys, so you can see that I have replaced the floor completely with dark oak wood planks, and I have lit this place up quite nicely. So what are we going to be doing next? I figured the first thing that I'm going to add in here is going to be a nice good old-fashioned fireplace, and I want to make this thing quite big. I'm going to make it right here in the back center part of the wall, like at the very back of the house, just because I think that it makes most sense to have it here. I'm even considering, to be honest, like sealing off the second floor just to kind of make it a little bit more cozy in here. You know what? I've literally just decided that I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to do it. Give me a second, guys. I didn't make this decision beforehand. There we go, guys. I think that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? Doesn't it look a little bit cozier? Plus, we were able to add some more torches in here. I might even add some, what I'll call tinsel around. You know what? Glowstone would have made excellent tinsel. Maybe we'll use that and we'll ditch some of the torches. But anyway, let's continue on with this fireplace. We're also going to need, I'm in the wrong tab. We're also going to need some stone brick stairs. So how do I do this? I want it to be relatively big. Like I want it to be a pretty big fireplace. Like maybe it'll look a little something like this. I've never made like a massive one, like as big as I'm making now. So we might just have to layer it a little bit, and we might just have to do it like that. So what if we just like bring it out a couple of rows like this, and we can always use the stone bricks just to kind of like shape it a little bit better. Like if we just want to like do this, that looks kind of good, doesn't it? I mean, what if we, does that look okay? That looks kind of okay. What if we place another brick here, another brick here? There we go, that looks a little bit better. We can bring that all the way up to the top, and we can put some upside down stone bricks this side up to the top as well. Stone bricks there, and then maybe open this up just a little bit actually. And what can we have? We can have that there, and then why don't we just close this off? And that might be big enough actually. And then if we want to put some stone brick stairs here and here, that just shapes it a little bit better, and it allows this to be open. And what we can also do is, I don't want to burn down the entire house, so we can add some iron bars here, and we could have a fire going behind it. But like I said, I don't want to set fire. What's the world set to? Fire spreads. I should be okay, right? I should be able to just like set fire to the set fire to that and then just put like a guard there. Does that look okay? And what I could also do, I could add a reef above the fire, and I could use, where are we? Some spruce leaves for it. So like I could add like a here, 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 and here. Kind of like, you know, like a holly reef or whatever they're called. That actually looks kind of good, doesn't it? And I could even put like a red wool in the center. Yeah, that looks pretty nice, doesn't it? That's a pretty good fireplace. That's not looking too bad at all. What else can we put around? So, why don't we add some... Oh, it's a shame that these walls aren't... Why don't we add another reef here, like, just above the door? So why not, like, just above the door here? And why don't we this time add some gold in the middle of it? Okay, that's looking pretty decent. Some lights around the place. Or maybe we'll just use gold. Maybe we can just use, like this as kind of like tinsel, and we can just like follow this pattern going all the way around the house. Maybe this will look good. Let's just do a wall. I mean, that it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look terrible. I mean, maybe glowstone would have been a better choice, but I don't want to use glowstone, to be honest with you. So this doesn't look too bad. This is kind of like in the form of tinsel. You know those weird streamers that you kind of like made out of tinsel material that you can place going all the way around. That's kind of like what we're going for here. That kind of, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I think you can tell what it is. That's not too bad. What else do we want to have? So in front of here, I probably want a big red carpet. Why don't we have a big red carpet, or a big red rug I should say, just like in front of the fire. It can span the entire fire, it can stay 3 blocks away, and it can be quite large. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can just have this. And then maybe on the left and right hand side, or maybe like going all the way around the rug, which is essentially what this is, we could have a sofa. So why don't we place a sofa going all the way around here? So this will be made out of... Do we want to use the same material? Yeah, we're going to use dark oak wood. Or shall we? I don't know. I don't know what to use. I don't know whether dark oak... Is it too much? Shall we have a stone one? No, not a stone one. Shall we have a... let's see how this looks. That doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look terrible, I will say that. But then we've got... There's too much here. So why don't we just have like... a couple of like benches on the left and right hand side. But then, does that make any sense to have some seats like on the left and right? And does it make sense for them to be made out of this material? I don't think I like that. I think that I want something else. Maybe just a really light colour wood. Maybe we could use birch wood. I don't think the seats bother me. I think it's the colour of them. I think that's the problem. They're not looking... That doesn't look bad at all. I quite like that, actually. Now, what are we missing? We could even have, like, a coffee table, like, in the middle of this. Maybe... Or not a coffee table. I guess a big giant table. Huh. I don't know. You know what? I don't actually know what else to put in here. I mean, this is kind of just like a... there should be a bed or something. I quite like it how it is now, to be honest. Like, I might just leave the rest to you guys, because I'm not sure how to improve it from here. Like, I quite like this. I kind of like this as kind of like a bit of a relaxation, bit of a sit down, sit in front of the fire, Christmassly-ishy, decorated. I quite like it. Maybe a tree. Maybe a tree in the corner. Shall we add one of those? Like, I've never made one of these before, but let's use the dark oak wood. No, we'll use spruce wood, and we'll use spruce wood leaves as well. So why don't we add one of these? Should it be in a pot? No, it won't be in a pot. So why don't we just have it right in the back corner here? Actually, let's see. So probably about here. We'll have it here. There we go. And we'll raise it up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there we go. It can go that high up, one away from the ceiling, and we might just want to knock out some of those. We'll knock out all but the bottom 2 branches. And like I said, I've never made like a Christmas tree before or anything in Minecraft, so just bear with me here. I mean, it kind of just like it'll just like point out, won't it? Like to the bottom here. Like we'll just want it to kind of like this isn't going to look very good. I can already tell, but I don't want to dedicate that much time to it. I don't want to dedicate that much time to make it. Yeah, this isn't going to look good. I'd have to spend more time figuring out how to make it. But we can make a makeshift tree. So it could be here, and then we could just have that there. That's not too bad. And what if we add like some red, some... Yeah, okay, so why don't we just add some of these around here, maybe like here, and then here, and then here, and maybe a little bit of gold as well. Maybe add a little bit of gold to here. No, maybe there. And I don't know, I guess you can kind of tell that's a Christmas tree. Make a better one, guys. Do me a favor, make a much better one. I don't really want to dedicate a massive amount of time to making it. That's why I'm not putting too much effort into this. But we can just kind of like have it up as a stand here, and maybe we can have some like red and white presents, kind of like all the way around the base of the tree. So we can have some like we can just have some right there. And maybe like an extra present right here up front. And I guess you can tell that that's a Christmas tree. It doesn't look very good, but you know, what can you do? On the right hand side here, what can we have? I mean, I really don't know what to put. Maybe like a table, maybe like an eating table. But nah, you know what? I'm not gonna bother. I'm not gonna bother. Oh, why don't we put something right at the top of the tree? Why don't we? Oh, glowstone. Why don't we use glowstone for this? Come here, come back. Why don't we use glowstone for the star at the top of the tree? So, I mean, it's now obvious, or I hope it's obvious, that that's like a Christmas tree. And maybe that could have went like on the left here, and we could have had the... I don't know. I don't know what to put in this position either. I really don't. Maybe it could just be like a kitchen area. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we could just have a bit of a kitchen area. It can start one block short of there, and it can just come all the way up one block short of the window. Maybe there, and we can just have like a central counter which can just look a little something like this, although it's not going to look that good. Can just have that. Actually, why don't we knock that middle bit out there? There we go. That's looking a bit more acceptable. We can replace that with quartz, making it just diversifying the materials, just making it look a little bit better. Can add in some dark oak wood planks, and I don't know, it kind of looks like a bit of a kitchen area now. If you're really that bothered, you could add some white and some black carpet, so like could just do this pattern. I hope that matches up. Yeah, it does, perfect. And that'll be black there. Could just do that pattern all the way around the inside there, and if you wanted to, you could add some like this stuff. Why don't we use that? That'll work as a microwave. We can just add some of this like around here, just so it looks like stuff. Maybe add a little bit of dark blue carpet just to make that look like a sink or something. And that's probably about it. I don't need to do too much more. So why don't we start from the outside and walk our way in, and why don't we take a look at this thing? So this is how it looks from the outside. And now just running into the inside, the first thing that we see is the big giant fire, which I really like, and we can see all of the tinsel or whatever like surrounding the top of the room. We've got a big giant holly wreath, we've got a big rug here, we've got seating on the left and right, we've got a nice Christmas tree there, we've got a nice bit of a kitchen area. Everything's looking quite homey, everything's looking quite festive, and on top of that, everything's quite easy to make in here, which is always a nice positive. Moving to the outside, we've just got a nice little path, which is very nice, and we've got our 2 candy canes, and we've just got our snow going all the way around the outside. And I just wanted to show, I don't really feel the need to give an in-depth view of that, since I guess we've kind of just made that along with each other. So let's take off the UI and let's discuss this a little bit. So hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully you've managed to make it. And if you've done both of those things, guys, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a like, a favourite, a share. Anything you feel like doing to help me out, guys, I would just always vastly appreciate, as I always do. I put a lot of effort into this house, not just the interior. I know it doesn't look like I just put a lot of effort into the interior, but the exterior especially. This house was really, really hard to design and tweak and make. It was hard to make look right. So if you wouldn't mind, like, favourite, share. Comment down below, do you want to see another one of these houses just before Christmas? Because we've got enough time to sneak another one of these in if you guys actually like it. If not, feel free to comment down below what's your favourite Wednesday house for me to make, and maybe we can get one of those doing. Also, check out the description below for all of my various other tutorial playlists, but I honestly recommend checking out the card system. If you like this, I'll leave some stuff that's more related to this that I think that you guys will really like in there. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. Like, favourite, share if you wouldn't mind. Check out my other stuff. Let me know whether you want to see another one of these just before Christmas, and I'll see you in the next video.